And then you want me to just Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris. Joy's coming up very soon with your headlines for today. Wanted to start with the update on your forecast. We do have a First Alert weather day in place again today after some pretty nasty storms last night in metro Atlanta and in North Georgia in general. So we have the opportunity for more showers and storms later on this evening. The potential for isolated flooding will exist in addition to some brief damaging winds like yesterday. So it's not impossible that we see a severe thunderstorm warning or two later on this evening. So another First Alert weather day, but it's the second half of the day, not necessarily right now. Speaking of which, let's look at radar here. This is First Alert radar showing showers in the mountains, and we've been seeing this over the past several days, and that will continue for you in the mountains again this morning. Again, just some scattered showers out there. As we take you to the high-resolution forecast model, at lunchtime it's still dry in metro Atlanta. As we get closer to 1, 2 o'clock, isolated storms will start popping up just like yesterday. For the early part of the afternoon, the coverage is fairly low, but as you're driving home from work, just like yesterday, that coverage will start to increase. So scattered showers and storms as you're driving home from work, scattered showers and storms if you're headed out tonight, if you're headed out to dinner, you will definitely need the umbrella, and that will continue through at least 11 o'clock, if not later. Our models are actually showing the potential for some of this rain extending beyond midnight, but it should break up in time for your commute on Thursday morning. So that's a look at what you can expect today. Again, first half of the day, we're fine. Even if you see a shower this morning, it won't be that big a deal, but that 80% coverage that you see, that's really more for tonight. So if you have plans tonight, know that we are forecasting showers and storms. Isolated flash flooding, isolated strong winds will be possible. That's our First Alert weather day for today. We're looking at a similar scenario on Thursday. The coverage of rain won't be as high on Thursday, but the potential for some more flash flooding will exist, which is why we're keeping that First Alert weather day on Thursday, so watch out for that. Because of the rain out there, highs are going to stay in the mid-80s for the most part, maybe upper 80s, but not quite as hot because of the clouds and the scattered rain, especially the second half of the day. And as we go into the weekend, we still have high pressure, which is going to start to build over North Georgia. Now, this high won't be strong enough to completely shut out the rain, so there is still rain chances in your forecast over the weekend. The chances are just lower than what we're looking at today and tomorrow. So we're looking at like 30, maybe 40% coverage Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, primarily in the afternoon and evening. So you can keep your plans over the weekend, but you may have to dodge a shower or storm. There may be some lightning out there, and of course, we'll keep you up to date on that forecast. But our concern really is for today. As a reminder, second half of the day, watch out for those storms. Your First Alert weather team, we will be here keeping you up to date on those storms this evening as they develop, and we'll have an updated look at your forecast on Atlanta News First at noon. Of course, you can always get updates in the First Alert weather app, so we'll keep you up to date throughout the course of the day. In the meantime, we'll bring Joy in for a look at your headlines for today. Good morning, Joy.
Good morning, Rodney. All right, we're just doing a quick swap here. We got a lot of moving parts as we operate this desk, but I do want to let you know we are monitoring this press conference that is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m., but you know how sometimes things don't exactly start on time, especially on a kind of gray, rainy morning like what we have today. But I do want to just let you know again that we are awaiting this press conference to begin at any moment now. And this is from tenants at GE Tower who have expressed some concern about issues with the building management as well as eviction notice and various other issues. So we are waiting this live press conference to begin at any moment now. But in the meantime, I'm going to just take you to some other news that we're following while we're waiting for that to begin. A worker, unfortunately, was injured overnight and was electrocuted while repairing a transformer. So this man is in the hospital right now after officials say he, again, was electrocuted while repairing a blown transformer in northeast Atlanta. It happened around 3 a.m. on the 300 block of Boulevard in Atlanta. Atlanta Fire Rescue says that its crews had to remove the worker from a bucket attached to a repair truck. No word right now on his current condition, but again, he is in the hospital. Very concerning. Atlanta News First has reached out to Georgia Power to find out if he worked for them or whether he was a contractor. So, we'll keep you posted with the latest developments And of course, download our free app to get updates sent right to your phone. Also, let's talk about travel and that massive CrowdStrike outage that had repercussions really around the world. Well, Delta flights, I'm happy to report the delays, the cancellations are really starting to stabilize, thankfully, after this massive CrowdStrike outage. And again, this has been now 5 days after that defective cybersecurity update brought down computer systems for thousands of companies and agencies around the world. And so now the Atlanta-based Delta Airlines has largely stabilized its flight delays and cancellations, they say. Last Friday, the number of disrupted Delta flights at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport was in the hundreds. But as of Wednesday at 9:30 a.m., 5 Delta flights have been canceled, and 88 are delayed out of the airport. So that was just about 40 minutes ago. That was our last update. And, you know, in an email sent to customers Wednesday morning, Delta CEO Ed Bastian said the company's employees have been working around the clock to fix the flight schedules. He said delays and cancellations were down by 50% yesterday as compared to the day before, and he expects the airline to be back to normal by Thursday. Also says, quote, while our initial efforts to stabilize the operations were difficult and frustratingly slow and complex, we have made good progress this week, and the worst impacts of the CrowdStrike caused outage are clearly behind us. And goes on to say, I know the last few days have been difficult to our customers who were impacted. I want to thank you for your patience and apologize again for the disruption to your travel. Okay, let's go back to this press conference that is about to begin at any moment now. Looks like it's getting underway. Tenants of GE Tower addressing issues with building management. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Yes.
They want y'all to come over this way, Sean. They want y'all to come over this way, Sean.
As we are waiting,
No, you all right. You all right.
Okay.
They want us in the back.
Okay.
getting
Be
ready to
kind
walk there.
of closer.
But these are tenants of GE Tower that are addressing ongoing issues with building management and also recent eviction notices. So they're at 490 Glen Street Northwest at the moment. And you see that sign.
It's a good amount. They only move like one floor at a time.
Yeah.
This is in 2021. Invest Atlanta, MARTA, and other bodies provided $30 million in funding to Lincoln Avenue Capital in order to renovate GE Tower and improve and preserve affordable housing near transit. Well, the process has been fraught with abuses and harm to tenants, is what these individuals are arguing, and they say that instead of resolving issues including lack of leases, rodents, mold, even sexual harassment, they claim that the management has resorted to blaming tenants and forcing them into individual closed-door meetings. Most alarmingly, they say many tenants have been served with 7-day notices to vacate based on inexplicable balances of thousands of dollars, and this comes after promises to audit the billing for all of the tenants necessary due to evidence of a former manager mismanaging funds. They also go on to say that contrary to the stated intentions of Lincoln Avenue Capital, tenants are now facing intimidation and an uphill battle to remain in their homes. So they're going to be talking today, again, at any moment now.
Oh, she a resident.
Maintenance issues, what they say is management's failure to address tenant concerns, what they say is unfair and potentially unlawful eviction notices, the need for transparent communication and fair treatment, the contrast between the stated goals of the renovation project and the current treatment of tenants, they say, and the potential impact on affordable housing in Southwest Atlanta. So we're just waiting for this to begin. And as you see, folks are gathering and they're getting ready to talk.
trying to wait for Covia and Zakia to come down, and then we'll just get started. Some short comments and stuff like that. They'll ask questions and things like that. But, I mean, yeah, you can say that, but it's, primarily the leases and all that type of stuff. I still don't have that either. Right, so that's the.
I
that's
don't
really
have
what we
that
wanna
either.
understand.
I've been here for years. I only had one.
So that's what they need to know. Is that
For the most part, they are telling us that we can't come back. Well, I've heard them say it. I ain't gonna say they telling us, but I did hear from people say once they move us out for the rehabilitation process, that if you don't have a lease, that they're not coming back.
so they set up? They did this. So.
And that's not.
Yeah. So that's what it needs to be on record to prevent, protect y'all. Okay, let me get. Sorry, let me get someone else.
Oh, well, it's
You don't have to. Yes, you don't have to. Don't leave your place. If you really don't have to.
Well, I was ready to leave on the 2nd.
Listen, you might don't hear me. I'm ready to go. I just, can they move me to Capital? They can move me to Capital. I'm on their way.
Good morning.
So, who here is speaking as a resident?
I guess I'm the one.
The only, so you're speaking on behalf of everyone?
I guess if I'm the only
There's a few more
one.
young ladies that
Yeah,
come
That
down.
will
there's a
come
few
up
more.
and speak? Okay. Now, when you come up, do you mind just for the camera, introducing yourself and then saying how long you've been a resident here?
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing? You know, so
Okay.
that way we can differentiate. It's always
Okay.
probably tougher.
Okay.
All right, I appreciate it.
You see the parking garage.
So I was doing some work in political science before, but now I'm doing urban studies.
So walk toward that.
Really focusing on solutions to poverty, housing inequity, food inequity, job inequity. We focus on data and the history and all those things. So now that we know all this information, what do we do with it? Like, don't talk to me no more about the data. Let's go.
Is she attending that is talking now?
Yeah, she is. I know. I was wondering why she's over there.
Because they keep everybody together.
Exactly. That's what I'm focusing on.
Speaking one
But what about you? I know you said
Because I know that the resident turns to media, but he shouldn't be doing the press stuff before this started.
I know.
One of the things you're organized to do.
I know. I'm wondering. I was wondering if she was with you or. I don't know. Her name is Leslie. I don't know who the girl she's speaking with is.
Even though they ain't defined that yet, but your it's going against everything, that you're supposed to be.
He a resident too.
Property. Yeah.
And Leslie probably don't know who she is. She probably thinks she with y'all.
I want to go nowhere. I want nowhere.
Yes.
Because I know what I know now. I definitely want to move
Telling me to wait till the thing.
This not a renovation.
You do that after you got the thing going. Talk to
They finished the rehabilitation. What did they fix?
press releases, they got a press.
Leslie.
Y'all did first one. I met up.
They didn't do nothing. They still ain't fixed right now.
Oh, there go another resident coming by.
Come on up in the front. We want to step behind the resident. You ain't saying what you're saying, but just come up and get the front.
I don't have a personal
What's that? And they need They should dance. They always ask for entry after the press conference.
For speaking about the renovation.
What's her name? Come tell us. What's her name again?
Leslie.
Nancy, y'all come on over here so we can get started with the interview. That's how you do that. Come on over here. All the people come over here. She can ask a question over here. Don't let the media control you. You control the media.
Well, you know, after they get through doing
You come out, I'm up there behind you.
Well, how they can't put you out?
right here.
Come on in here, give it up.
Right here. If you could come on this.
All right.
No,
They can't put you out for being talking your
come on now. Come on
They can't do
now.
nothing to you about that.
They know better than
We
that.
got a lawyer for you.
Am
They
I
can't do that.
always the one up front?
got a
I
lot
just want to
Listen,
know.
That's all right.
got
Set
a lawyer for you.
the stage. We
I
right
just
here
wanna
with you.
know.
We in support for you. You know, speak with everything that y'all tell us. Say it. Say it.
Right to organize.
Yeah,
I'm always up front. I can't take it.
yeah, say it.
Y'all come on, we can get started. Yeah, y'all come over there to your left a little bit. Come on to your left a little bit, please.
Not when everybody a little nervous. I know why they ain't showing up. They been showing up all the meetings, and now the one that they needed, they not doing it.
That's all right. We saying the stage with this one.
Y'all got to speak up or nothing gonna change. We can, should we just get started while other people are coming, or just whatever?
Let's get started, cause
Okay. Coming down the alley? Yeah, but some of them said they didn't want to be on camera, all that stuff. Okay, here's Basil. Oh, here's Basil with that chair. You want the chair? We can
yeah.
set the chair right here.
Can I
Okay.
sit in the chair?
I had it over my head.
Why did I know when I came out here?
Yeah, you put it on your heart. It's already ready.
You want to sit down?
Okay.
There you go. I guess you can take that money.
You all still able to and see her? What,
Hey, if you need to get back there, you can get back
oh, okay.
there. Do y'all want me to use this loudspeaker or just speak it to the thing? Loudspeaker? Okay.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna, because I'm right in the middle of the pool. I'm just telling you, I'm waiting on you.
You can come up to the front if you want. She's coming down. All the residents.
Okay, well, babe,
Don't get this.
you can come or not, okay? Just let us know because we can move forward with something.
She okay?
Is she in?
Yeah, she said she's on the way. I
Okay.
told her just to kind of like, oh yeah, she is.
Okay, yeah. So she's coming down now.
That's what she said.
Okay. We'll give it like 2 minutes.
So that they want me to stand up, that's fine. I can stand up.
Yeah, when you get ready to talk. But right now you can sit down. You can sit down for a second.
Thank you.
Mike, check that, see if it's working.
Yeah.
My position with the management is already volatile. I can't make it any worse than it is.
I mean, this is what,
Be able to protect you from
yeah,
that.
publicity is what protects you.
You attended while you over there.
You the resident?
Hello.
Okay, I hear you.
Hello.
Okay, great. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Monica Johnson. I'm with Housing Justice League. We're out here to support the tenants of GE Tower. They have been dealing with all manner of harassment, retaliation, Lack of leases. Many tenants do not have leases over the past year, multiple years, and they are constantly faced with faulty charges, faulty eviction notices, told that they are, 7 days out from being evicted on charges that there is no proof of. So as Invest Atlanta and MARTA have invested money into this process to say that they are protecting and preserving affordable housing near transit, the tenants are having to face retaliation, are having to face lack of safe conditions. It's only as of recent times that they have started having the gates lock again. It's only of recent times that the elevators have been working, but many disabled tenants have had to spend months and months dragging themselves up and down 4 flights of steps without elevators. So there's many egregious violations of what housing should be in general, and the tenants are tired of dealing with this, tired of not having their place feel secure. People are being relocated out for renovation, and it's usually like 3 weeks that they're out, going in stages. And upon coming back without having leases, a lot of tenants feel they don't know if they're going to be able to come back. They don't know if they have the legal support to know that their place is safe. And so as we know that the city of Atlanta, the average working class person, low income person is being pushed out of the city. Lincoln Avenue Capital is claiming that they want to provide affordable housing and preserve affordable housing, but all of their actions say that they want to push these people out. So we have several tenants here with us. They could speak more directly to their specific issues, but this has been a process ever since Lincoln Avenue has come on, and their management that they've brought on, have been in the business of stealing. People have paid money for their utilities, paid money for their rent, and then they're turned around and told that they did not pay and that they have thousands of dollars of balance. Their people have asked for cameras because while they allowed the gates to be open, intruders would roam the hallways. And then as soon as they ask for those cameras and for security to happen, they get an eviction notice filed against them for 3 months of water charges when they have they have utility checks that are supposed to be going, and those checks disappear. And so there seems to be an incredible wastefulness, mismanagement of funds, an incredible disdain for the people that live here, and we're tired of it. So these tenants have already spoke out once. They're going to continue to speak out, but we want to have on the record what Lincoln Avenue Capital is doing and what the city of Atlanta needs to do. They need to step up, and they need to make sure that anybody that is receiving subsidy that is allowed to operate an apartment complex in the city has to do right by the tenants. Any questions you want to? Okay. This is Michelle, a tenant here.
My name is Michelle Anderson. I've been here for 16 years. This has been the hardest 2 years of all the 16 years. I was the last one to get stuck on the elevator. They put a sign on the elevator, and it hasn't worked since. Now, when they got notice that the housing authority people were coming, then they fixed the elevator. But up until then, I had been walking up 2 flights of stairs, and every time I asked, it would be fixed on Friday. And it was a Friday. It just happened to be a Friday that the housing authority was coming. Right now, I have a leak in my apartment. Every time it rains hard, there's a puddle in my living room. I've told them a dozen times. In fact, when I moved back, it was a Saturday. On Monday, it rained, and I actually brought the manager in my apartment to see the puddle on the floor, and still nothing has been done till this day, and I think that's been about 3 months. And our move-out process, when they relocated us, that cost me $230 because they waited till the last minute to tell me, actually the day of, and I ride paratransit when I don't have my car, and I just happened not to have my car that day. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, I went and asked them, even though it was too late for me to make a ride, do you know where we're going to be? And I was told no. About 10 o'clock, they gave us a hotel. 2 o'clock, they changed it. By the time I got a neighbor to take me to the hotel we were going to, it was after 7. So I couldn't check in. So I had to find a hotel. When I got the next day, I checked into that hotel. I didn't know the table was unstable. When I leaned against the table, I fell. And coming back here has been hard because when I went to pay my rent, once we came back, I was told I owed more money, and I asked why. They said, well, for August, September, October of last year, the bill wasn't paid. I was like, what does that have to do with me? They said, well, until we get the money, we're charging everybody 3 months for 3 months water bill. Because the elevator wasn't working, I've had to do delivery services. And as far as construction around here, the construction company scratched up my car. And originally they said, oh, we're going to buff it out. And I was like, I don't want you to buff it out. I want you to fix it. But when I asked them, could I get someone else to check to see if they did the work right, they said, oh. And I had been working with them for two weeks. They said, oh, it could have happened at Walmart. So now I have nothing done to my car. I guess if I couldn't do it their way, they didn't want it done. It's just been crazy these last 2 years. On the 2nd of this month, I was ready to go.
You need some assistance, Michelle? I got it.
Maybe I'll say some more background so they can get it on this one. Okay, so we just heard from one tenant. Obviously, none of this should have happened. None of this should be able to continue to happen. As she said, she's put in dozens and dozens of maintenance requests, but they don't listen. And they seem to be averse to any sort of online records of anything. Their preference is to call you or to speak to you in person in a closed room where there's no record of what goes on. And so many folks, when they brought issues to the management has said, well, you might as well move out. They do that on a repeated basis. So it's clear that the management, the ownership of GE Tower, I don't know what kind of situation they're running here, but I think it's criminal. As well, we've heard from these same movers that the construction folks, they just now put this little barrier up, but there's been plenty of times they'll throw debris down from the top floors while children are running around. People have had their daughters sexually harassed by the construction workers here, and I guess their solution is to put body cams on the construction workers. So obviously, this is a 5-alarm fire. This is an emergency. They have fixed the elevators, but there's still so much damage done to folks. Folks have new pest infestations because of the moving, because of them moving everybody's stuff and putting it God knows where. They have, introduced rats and roaches to people's stuff. They've misplaced people's stuff. They put people's things into other people's things. So obviously they're not good stewards of the resources that they're being provided, and we need change. So I'm going to let Leslie speak next, another resident here.
Good morning. My name is Leslie Reagan. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out in support of our situation here at GE Tower Apartments. I have been a resident here for 9 years now. One of the points that I really want to express off the cuff is that as I'm speaking here, there is a sense of fear or reprisal for doing so. I do know that there are certain recently passed legislations or things that have been in place to protect us against that. So I do want to mention that in, speaking. What I've experienced here at GE Tower, first of all, I want to say that for the past 2.5 years, I made an effort to be more active in my community, and I was really excited about it. It just so happened to be at the same time that the property was acquired by Lincoln Property. So I had the privy of being able to sit in on some of the Mechanicville civic associations to hear, it was through Zoom, but to hear and witness what Lincoln Property proposed initially to get the funding that they've gotten to do the renovation and whatever else it is that they're going to do here. And the tone of that has changed dramatically. Even, I want to say, right around the time that they did acquire the property, I became a little bit more concerned because I was excited, but things just weren't matching up. I became concerned because I just saw a laxity in a lot of things that had been maintained and upkept once the property had been acquired by Lincoln Property, but at the same time, things such as security. This is a gated community, but for like 2.5, just of late, they've been enhancing the security. But for 2.5 years, anybody from off the street could walk onto GE Tower properties, not just on the grounds, but in the buildings. We have children here. We have single moms here. Which doesn't matter. It should just, if it's a secure community, it should be secured. I've reached out to Invest Atlanta Housing with my concerns. My major concern was initially security, gross breaches in security. But that has, now that I'm in a situation where my unit is actively being renovated as we speak, again, as Monica mentioned, I have a fear that I may not be able to get into my unit, especially as I'm speaking to you guys right here today. So those are the things that I want to shed light on, and I really want to garner the attention of MARTA or any other so-called like Fortune 500 company here based in Atlanta that has their name attached to this. This is business. They're corporations. They operate on a business. We're individuals, and we take care of business as well. So I really want to have answers from Atlanta Housing. Why are we here for 2+ years without having a lease? There should be inherent protections as a subsidized property that we should be entitled to, and that should be in place. We should not be associated with Atlanta Housing and not have leases. I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. So ultimately, what I do want to express is that with all these different breaches, we were having situations, again, once we started having individuals come onto the property, for like maybe 2 weeks straight, every night we were having fire alarms go off at night. I don't know if it was a child. I don't know what it was, but that could be considered like a public nuisance if repeatedly a property is having tax dollars come to a false alarm. So and we have cameras in place that they're supposed to be able to see at any point, at any turn or any nook what's going on here on the property, but it still persisted. There was no issues passed out to the residents. Okay, like, well, this is a problem. If it continues, we're going to have to, handle it up to the point of you losing, your place here at GE Tower. None of that stuff has been in place. So on top of like the breaches, some of the breaches could ultimately, again, going back to the breaches, where I'm positioned near ladders that have, this is an industrial area over here, so they have ladders that lead to hatches that give roof access. So on 2 different occasions, there was once a vagrant that was on top of the roof that I heard, and I called out the police. I have footage of that. There was another situation where children had accessed this ladder and were scaling down. I guess they just kind of realized the severity of it. Actually, I didn't see them actually all the way to the top. They're scaling down from the ladder. The hatch that has been open for 2.5 years. So rain, snow, sleet, whatever the climate is, that's coming in, and it has the capacity to be secured at the bottom, so at least there would have to be an exerted effort to get up to the point where you can continue to scale the ladder. That is not secure. There's a lock right there. It's locked on the part that's fixed, but the swinging gate is not in place. So I've addressed, now they have the excuse, yeah, the renovation is gone, but after hours it's not secured. So my feeling is that this is just an attempt to have a multitude of breaches going on. Ultimately, and the fear that's been implanted in a lot of residents here. Some residents are electing to just leave instead of having to deal with the situation of not maybe having a house. Maybe they can secure some housing in another area, so they do that. So is there a situation where if the census of the units here that are subsidized are low enough that that would disqualify the property from being subsidized? Another situation, it's like a multi-pronged approach to get the property in a situation where it's no longer eligible or disqualified to be subsidized housing, and that opens up the window for the owners to enter into a marketplace, rent, lease, purchase, what have you. So I honestly and truly feel that that's what the attempt is going on here. And again, I want to call out MARTA. They have their name attached. Invest Atlanta. I have personally spoken with Vicki Roberts at the onset of, before the funds were even released. Excuse me, she's supposed to be in charge at that time of the multifamily lending department with Invest Atlanta. I spoke to her specifically about the same issues back in 2022 that I'm presenting to you all today. So Invest Atlanta and the community leaders. We are a stone's throw away from the Capitol. This is the face, a lot of things that happen in Atlanta influence this region, or maybe even the United States as a whole, particularly as it relates to, you know, working class, low income, subsidized situations and the like. So I'm calling out on the community leaders, elected officials, local and state, to take a glance at what's going on over here at GE Tower. We right here. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we're gonna have another tenant, Mary Rachel. Can I stay here? Is the audio good? Okay.
Hello, good morning. I'm Rachel in C468. I won the first one. I won the first one that moved. I moved back in January, came back in February. That's my issue, it's my items. All the way from the beginning. I supposed to got my boxes on a Monday. I didn't get my box till Wednesday. I supposed to got 14 days to move. I only had 5. So they packed a lot of my stuff and threw my stuff in the trash or whatever they did with it. My washer and dryer is missing. I still haven't seen it, still haven't heard anything about it. They still haven't replaced it. I mean, I got clothes missing, furniture damaged, shoes, everything. Everything that was in my house is damaged, broken, or never came back. From the hotel, they said we have room service, no room service. Said there's a Waffle House next door. There was a liquor store next door, so I left the hotel. I never got reimbursed, never got my $500 from that. Still haven't paid for my washer. Here it is, July. I still haven't received now quarter about any of my items. So I went and bought a new washer and dryer already. I have receipts. They even used my trash can from my house. The workers even took my trash can from my house and used it for their own benefits. My trash bags, I had a case, a large black trash bag, they used that too. And I guess they not gonna replace it, or they saying they not gonna replace it. So that's my problem here, my issue. It's not about apartment or what's going on in the apartment. I really don't give a hoo-ha, but I want my items replaced, and I want my item replaced as soon as possible. Thanks. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you. So again, clearly there is outlined procedure for this renovation. People are supposed to receive money, receive boxes. If they don't receive boxes and they move their own stuff, they're supposed to receive reimbursement for that. And that has not been happening. So we see, like Leslie said, it's hard not to conclude that they want to remove the folks here, that they want to, by attrition, have folks move out so they can do who knows what. As a result of speaking out, the owners have had 2 meetings on the property where they said that they spoke to they're acting like they're speaking to the residents' concerns. But what we have seen is a continuation of the same old, which is now they have a new person in management, and she's just saying, come to the office. If you have an issue, come to the office. And so what the tenants want, what the community wants, is wholesale change. We don't want individual, one by one, you come to the office and then we can figure out something, and that's probably not actually the correct way it should be addressed. Everybody in this property needs to have a new lease. Everybody in this property needs to have their ledger cleared, because obviously the water bills have not been being paid. People are paying their water bills, but they're not being paid to the water company. We need, all the gates and hatches to be fixed. And we need Invest Atlanta, Atlanta Housing, MARTA to step in, because clearly the owners are just in a battle of attrition. They're just trying to tire everybody out and until everybody just sits down and lays down and maybe they move out. So I think that it's criminal that folks have been living in here with no lease. After they have this meeting where they say, oh, we're working on it, we're listening to your concerns, then dozens of people get eviction notices saying 7 days until you get a legal eviction filed upon you. They're putting thousands of dollars on people's ledgers from people that have, they have letters from months before saying your balance is clear. There's one person, they had a balance of $0 by virtue of a notice given to them in May, and then in June they say you have 7 days to pay $3,000 or you're getting evicted. So clearly these folks cannot be trusted. And as you've heard by many of from the tenants here, there's all sorts of issues that they're being faced with. There's all sorts of retaliation, all sorts of clear, discrimination. ADA standards are apparently out the window for this property. And so we want this to be on record. We want it to be clear that the ownership and management of GE Tower, they're in the business of intimidating and harassing tenants, not serving them, and they need to be removed. Are there any other folks? Okay. You can say right.
As a former, my name is Columbus Warren, as a former chair for Neighborhood Planning Unit B, this property came to our NPU for approval. They were asked for several layers of financing, from the low-income housing tax credit with the state of Georgia, Invest Atlanta money, Atlanta Housing Authority money, MARTA money. All these layers of financing went into the owners and the new management to provide integrity and respect to the neighbors of GE Tower. Obviously, that have not been happening. So I think we at the moment now, we need to call on the investigation of those people who's supposed to be monitoring this, what's going on, because they're using our tax dollars for that purpose. So we need to call on the Invest Atlanta, the City of Atlanta, Atlanta Housing Authority, Georgia Department of Community Affairs in terms of the low-income housing tax credit, and MARTA board to all find out what's going on with their money that's been put into the rehab of GE Tower. The residents have not been respected the way they should have, as they promised when I was the chair, that they would do all these things. They said then that these neighbors would be able to stay, live in place, and be able to stay here continuous and be respected as tenants, as they have a right to be respected as tenants. They have a right to live and continue to be here. That's their right. But now we see that's not happening. So I think we need to call on our city council person, Jason Dozier, for this area to demand an investigation of what's going on here and make sure these tenants are being treated correctly.
we'll have one last speaker, Devin Barrington Ward.
Y'all fired up? Yeah. Y'all fired up? Yes, sir. Y'all fired up? Yeah. Listen, this is a movement for working class people because working class people deserve to live in the communities that they live in here in the city of Atlanta. And we need leadership here in the city that is not going to allow for property owners of low income and affordable housing units to be pushing residents out, because we know that the face of Atlanta is changing. We know the face of Atlanta is changing right before the 2026 soccer games, right? That we know that the World Cup is coming here. This is our 96 Olympics again. And it happened again in 96 when they tried to push residents out so that they could bring in corporations, so that they could bring in people that don't look like the people who are standing here right now. And so what we're calling on is for investigations. There are members of the Invest Atlanta board that are seeking votes to run for higher office, but they are not doing their duty right now as members of the board of Invest Atlanta to investigate what's happening here at this property. I'm calling on members of council when they return from their summer recess to introduce and pass a resolution calling on the Atlanta Housing Authority, Invest Atlanta, and the MARTA board to open an investigation against this property management company to find out what exactly is going on here, so that they are taking and documenting the experiences of the residents here to inform what type of conclusions need to be made about this property, because we know that there are concessions that need to be made, there are fines that need to be made, and there's money that needs to be returned to the residents in their pockets. They have wasted enough of these folks' time, they've wasted enough of these folks' money, and we are not going to stand for it anymore. Again, my name is Devin Barrington Ward, and I am a candidate for Atlanta City Council at large. Thank you.
So yes, the message is clear. The people who are in charge here, Lincoln Avenue Capital, Franklin Johnston Group, they are sending not their best, or maybe it is their best, but they are sending folks here to represent and to act like they want to serve the tenants here, while the tenants here are dealing with harassment and basically hell and high water. Just to be renovated, just to have their units renovated. Most of them are fine with the way the units look. People are coming back from the renovation and still having issues, like she said. People are coming back with no AC, coming back with all sorts of issues. And so the renovation seems to be able to make these units into something that looks attractive to folks that can pay market rate rent. So we will not stand for it, and we want this on the record that after they claimed that they were going under a process of reconciliation and listening, folks are still dealing with these issues, and they seem to be just averse to giving folks leases. Dozens and dozens of people don't have leases. So at the bottom line, if they can't provide a lease, they can't provide any evidence that people are here, they don't need to be the ones in charge. So thank you guys for being here today. I don't know if you have any other questions. Oh, you want? Yeah. Okay. We have another resident.
Good morning, this is Tommy Lee Butts, and I'm now the guy living 368 C building, 3rd floor. I've been there for a good little while, but ever since I've been here, when Felicia was here, what's happened, I had my ceiling fall over 3 times while on the train to come across. Okay, by my ceiling fall from leak water. It's coming all the way through my hot water tank and my AC unit. Water come all the way across the floor. They cut the front of by the door where you walk in, where the water come in, and back right there by my kitchen table. It had like a trampoline with plywood, pressed plywood they got in the floor. So when you walk across, you got a hill there. So what they did, they took another 2x4 piece of wood and nailed it back down. But it didn't stop the water. So the water's still leaking right now. So I got pictures and photographs for everything that was going on in my apartment. It's on my cell phone. And I don't care if you're out here trying to take it or whatever. I know a lot of people out here hate me because I ain't got no friends. And one thing about it, I'm going to protect myself. But I don't care if you don't like it or whatever. I need my place fixed. I've been complaining about this ever since Felicia been here. And it's still going on. And I talked to one of the guy with what for be doing the stuff in the house. He gonna tell me that'll be $500 to fix that. But I told him that ain't my problem. So whoever got to fix it, they need to go up there and fix it. What they did, they came in there and sprayed over it. So that you can't tell it is. That's why I took pictures of it. And the bathroom sink was tore all to pieces. It was rattling. The mold, where the overflow hole where you fill your sink up, it was messed up. So they took that knot and put me another sink in there. And the kitchen sink under the bottom, it messed up. The cabinets and all that, they took them out so y'all can't notarize. They put a 1-inch cabinet up on the ceiling up there and took the 2.5-inch down. So they put some, what they call them old pressure wood cabinet up there. As you put anything like water, some on a towel, your cabinet will blow up. Cause they cheap cabinet. Now that right there don't even make no sense. I had took my pill, that's why my arm shaking. But I've been hitting this hand. So anyway, and the floor, what they came in there to do, when the dude took the floor up, it was like termites and stuff coming in my house. Running up and down or that, I think that's a 2.5 pipe. I told him about it. I called a couple of them and put them in the cup. I carried them to the office, one Felicia there. And they still doing the same thing. Ants, everything running through there. And it smelled like shit water running out of that ceiling to my floor. And when you walk in the house, my neighbor, when I came there, she brought me a microwave. So she said, oh, what that is in there? I said, I don't know. So I opened the little cabinet door right there by the door. It was just pure doo-doo. So what I'm mad at, they won't fix nothing. And when I tell them about it, they holler, oh, you can't talk to the workers. But if you can't talk to the workers, how they gonna know what's going on in your place? Right. If you can't talk to them. So guess what? I talk to them anyway. I don't care you don't like it or whatever. If you trying to put me out, I'm going to the head office and get you back. So I don't give her easy. I'm #1 man, and I don't care. You're mad at me or not mad at me, I tell you how I feel. And when I was walking down the street one day, coming back to my door, right there, a big old hound dog jumped up on me. And the dudes, I'm like, hey man, you hurt my dog, and I will pop your ass. I said, no, you ain't gonna pop nothing here, dog. If you want to fight, we can fight. I don't care, because your dog ain't had no business jumping up on me. Cause you supposed to hold that mower down. I'm talking about the dog about 3 foot off the ground, up in the air.